Greetings! Jerry Ultimate Power Gamer coming at you today with a battle report. We're playing Invade. We have Bob. You need to really get a name, Bob.
I know.
For YouTube.
Bob the Conqueror.
Bob the Conqueror. Fiery Forces of Nature versus Terrainaholic and his Undead.
Surprise.
We're playing 1995. We're doing the Invade scenario. Any thoughts you guys have?
It's gonna be hot.
They haven't played each other in a while. I'm gonna be doing the camera work, so we'll be back. We're gonna go over the armies and go over the table. See you in just a minute. Okay, here we are back. We're gonna go over the table first. So this is Epic Dwarf table number 19 for those of you who want to look and see how I did it. Right here we have a height 6 blocking terrain. We have 2 obstacles. That's a flat difficult terrain. This is a height 6 blocking terrain. We have a height 6 wood there, height 2 hill, height 6 wood, height 2 hill, and a difficult flat. Bob, what's your army? Let's go over your Forces of Nature right here.
All right, in this Forces of Nature, we have 2 hordes of Sylph Talon Riders.
Okay.
Right here. Here are 3 hordes of fire elementals.
Okay.
There's some more of them over here. Here's 2 more of those, flanked by 2 druids with nothing special on them.
Okay.
Greater fire elemental.
Okay.
And then we have a final 6th horde of fire elementals and a Pegasus,
Okay.
which has the standing stone.
Okay, we're going to come around over here and go over Terrainaholics. Terrainaholic, Undead, what do you have on this end?
Okay, these are the Fearless Vampire Troop and Regiment.
Okay.
Revenant Troop, Revenant Regiment.
Okay.
Standard Bearer.
Okay.
Mummies. Necromancer with Heal and Banechant. Then Revenant Horde with the Griffin Banner and the Rats.
Okay.
This is the same. It's the Banechant Heal 3. More Mummies. Revenant Troop, Revenant Regiment, Standard Bearer, and Vampire Troop. All of the troops, by the way, are fearless.
Okay.
Or I mean, all of the vampires are fearless.
Okay, so we'll be right back after turn 1. Okay, so here we are looking at the 2 armies. We're going to begin with Terrainaholics, who's on the lower right of your screen, the bottom of your screen. Basically, he set his house up kind of centrally located. The idea, since Bob's Forces of Nature outnumber him unit strength-wise by, I think, a factor of 10, he could actually make this work because Bob has left a lot of undefended terrain, undefended property on his left flank. So if Terrainaholic can just kind of come across the table, use a couple of units to neutralize Bob's 2 lone units on his right, on Terrainaholic's right flank, he can actually oblique line turn the corner and get set up for some possible good defensive countercharging, and while at the same time holding his unit strength in Bob's table half. Now, as far as Bob goes, he was trying to do a little shenanigans here because he has such a high unit strength compared to Terrainaholic. He basically was putting his drops down. He had kind of knew where he was going to put his house, but he was placing drops to try to throw Terrainaholic off. His basic idea, I think, is to advance across the table and try to wipe out units as fast as he can while preserving that plus 10 unit strength he has to help him make this a victory. So let's take a look and see how this ends up playing out. Okay, here we are at the end of Terrainaholic's turn 1. He got the first turn. These vampires here just moved up a little bit. Basically, everybody moved up, but the Necromancer there was able to surge this horde forward 4. Necromancer there was able to surge this Mummy Regiment 6. So we'll be right back after Forces of Nature's turn 1. Okay, here we are at the end of Bob's Forces of Nature turn 1. Mr. Pegasus came up to right here. That horde of fire elementals came to there. This giant fire element came and breathed here and didn't do any wounds. Here, these guys just came up. Over here on this side, everybody came up. These guys shifted over. Combined fire between the 2 hordes of Talon Riders ended up doing 4 wounds on this troop of vampires here, but was unable to rout them. We'll be right back after the Undead's turn 2. Okay. Okay, here we are at the end of turn 2 for the Undead. Basically, vampires came forward like that. This necromancer came up and was able to heal 2 wounds on that troop. These guys just came forward to here, all across here. These guys came forward, but the necromancer there surged up this unit of this troop of revenants, 5. So that was basically where we ended it. We'll be right back after turn 2 for the Forces of Nature. Okay, here we are at the end of Forces of Nature's turn 2. Basically, we did kind of a shift around here. These fire elemental hordes charged in here, did 7 wounds, rolled snake eyes. Combined shooting between these Talon Riders here on this vampire regiment did 4. Here, combined charge in the front with the horde, in the flank with the greater, did 17 wounds and took out those mummies. This horde of fire elementals did 4 wounds here, didn't do anything. This horde of fire elementals charged the regiment of revenants there, did 7 wounds and rounded them. So we'll be right back after turn 3 for the Undead. Okay, here we are at the end of turn 3 for the Undead. Basically, these guys moved up. We did a double charge here, Necromancer, Bane chanted there. They were only able to do 4 wounds onto that horde. Over here, we did a combined charge against the Greater Elemental with a Bane chant from Mr. Necromancer there. Got him up to 10 wounds, but rolled a Snake Eyes. Over here, we had a combined charge on this horde here. They did a total of over 20 wounds. Got him at Snake Eyes. Didn't roll Snake Eyes. There was no inspiring, so knocked them out. Turned to face like that, and we got our life leeches in. So this is how the board looks for the Undead at the end of turn 3. We'll be right back after Forces of Nature's turn 3. Alright, here we are at the end of the Forces of Nature turn 3. Basically, this Sylph Talon horde did an active double, came here. The one that was here came up, shot at the vampire troop, took them out. We had a combined charge here which did 8 wounds onto the vampire regiment there. Wasn't able to break them. Here, this fire elemental horde charged the flank of the revenant troop here, beat them, and ended up with that position. Mr. Greater Elemental did a charge here, was only able to do 6 wounds, not able to break them. Fire elemental horde here charged in and did a total of 6. Got them up to 6, was unable to break. Over here, the fire elemental horde charged the revenant regiment there, did 4 wounds and was unable to break them. So we'll be right back after the Undead's turn 4. Okay, here we are at the end of turn 4 for the Undead. This triple charge on that fire elemental horde caused them to go bye-bye. This Necromancer, Bane chanted the horde of revenants here. They put wounds, not a lot of wounds, on the horde there, but were unable to do anything. This Necromancer, Bane chanted this regiment of revenants, and they took out the greater fire elemental there. Over here, these vampires had countercharged against this unit of greater fire elementals that was here, took them out, did a whole lot of wounds, and turned to face this way. So this is what we're looking like at the end of turn 4 for the Undead. We'll be right back after the end, or after turn 4 for the Forces of Nature. Okay, end of turn 4 for the Forces of Nature. Between this Sylph Talon Rider and that Sylph Talon Rider, they did 4 wounds and 4 wounds on these 2 units, weren't unable to do anything. The combined charge here with 2 fire elemental hordes against the regiment of vampires took them way out. Over here, they charged in, they did like 4 wounds, unable to break here, and that basically was it. So we'll be right back after turn 5 for the Undead.
It started off at
Okay, so here we are into turn 5 for the Undead. Basically, these guys just did a sidestep over to get into scoring. This Necromancer and that Necromancer healed 1 whole wound off of here. We did a combined charge here on the horde of fire elementals and was able to take it out. These guys just pivoted and they moved forward, scoring position. So this is basically where we sit at the end of turn 5. We'll be right back at the end of turn 5 for the Forces of Nature. Okay, end of turn 5 for the Forces of Nature. These guys did a little shifting over to make room for these guys to move all the way into scoring. He moved over a little bit. Both of these guys took pot shots at there, only got him up to a 7, unable to break him. Mr. Druid charged the Necromancer here, did 1 wound, but was unable to break him. So that's the end of turn 5. We'll be right back after turn 6 for the Undead.
My
winners.
Okay, so here we are at the end of turn 6 for the Undead. Basically, the Wounded Necromancer and the Standard Bearer charged the Druid, but weren't unable to do any wounds at all. Everybody here just did an Exodus that way. Mr. Necromancer here failed to heal the Revenant Regiment there, so that's it for turn 6. We'll be right back after turn 6 for the Forces of Nature. Okay, into turn 6 for the Forces of Nature. These guys continue to shift over for scoring. He moved up just to be clear the wall so he could have clear shots. So between the two of them, they did 3 wounds, unable to break them. Also, Mr. Druid did a counter charge on the Necromancer there, was unable to wound this time. And we already rolled it, so there's going to be a final turn 7. We'll be right back. Okay, so here we are at the end of the total turn 7. Basically, Undead just turned around and made sure there were no rear charges available. Here, these guys shifted over a little bit more. He moved up on the hill. He took combined shots there, got them up to 8, but could not break them. So the ending was Forces of Nature 11, Undead 10. We'll be right back to go over some after game. Okay, bloody battle. Bob, was that the Breaker of Worlds?
Breaker of Worlds, yeah.
No, Breaker of Worlds took it by 1 point. False, Bob.
It was a fun battle. I did try to overload my right flank to sneak through, while I put some smaller forces over in the middle and the left flank to engage Bill for a while, and it turned out to work okay.
Terrainaholic.
When I was looking at his deployment, I noticed he had 3 nodes of his hand-to-hand guys. My goal was to try and break the 2 on my side and then turn the corner, but I couldn't quite do it. I feel pretty good though. You had what, 24 unit strength?
Started off with 24 to 14, so ahead by 10. But one thing I will add, because I just have to throw this in, did we see, now, Bob didn't really have your typical house. He basically did a 3-prong, so he had 3 little houses. Terrainaholic had a house, but he didn't keep his house together. It was not a home.
It's split open.
To quote Luther Vandross, his house was not a home. He split it up into 3 separate pincers, and so, you know, blah, blah. But good game, a lot of tactics going on. Thanks for playing, guys.
Yeah.
Tactics video number 2 coming up soon, so look for it. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.